She spent 5 minutes blocking an entire lane just to steal a parking spot from me. So after she finally parked, I left a note under her windshield wiper that made her think she had damaged her own car. There was no damage, no accident, nothing had happened. But for the next several minutes, I knew she was going to search every inch of that car looking for something that didn't exist. And honestly, after what she just put everyone through, I couldn't think of a more fitting way to waste her time. If you've ever dealt with someone who acts like the entire world belongs to them, you already know how satisfying it feels when karma finally catches up. So hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this one is a perfect example of how sometimes the smallest revenge can be the most satisfying. It was a completely ordinary morning at Woodland Mall in Michigan. Nothing dramatic, no big plans. I was just trying to get into the mall, park my car, and get on with my day. The parking lot was already getting busy, but I spotted something that felt like finding $20 on the ground. An empty parking space. And not just any parking space. It was close to the mall entrance, the kind of spot everyone notices. I slowed down, put my signal on, and started approaching it. The parking spaces were angled, and the lane was clearly designed to move in one direction. You drive down the lane, pull into the angled space, and keep moving. Simple, predictable. Then I saw her. A woman in another car was approaching from the opposite direction. Wrong way. At first, I assumed she had realized her mistake. She didn't. She saw the same parking spot, and apparently in her mind, seeing it first meant she had automatically won some kind of invisible competition. Our cars approached each other. I stopped, she stopped. For a second, neither of us moved. I could practically hear the unspoken argument. I'm going for that spot. So am I. But instead of backing up or continuing around properly, she decided she was going to force her way into the space. She squeezed past. I had to wait. And then she started parking. Except she wasn't exactly parking. It was more like watching someone attempt to solve a Rubik's Cube with a steering wheel. Forward, reverse, turn, stop, turn the other way, reverse again, forward, back, turn. And somehow, after all that, she was still nowhere near straight. Cars started stacking up behind me. One driver waited, then another. The entire lane was becoming a parking lot traffic jam because one woman had decided that getting this particular spot was more important than everyone else's time. I looked at the clock. 1 minute, then another, then another. I couldn't believe it. She was still going. By the time she finally managed to get the car into the space, nearly 5 minutes had passed. 5 minutes for a parking spot. And when she finally opened her door, she didn't look embarrassed. She looked proud, like she'd just won a championship. I rolled down my window. She glanced at me. I gave her a slow, sarcastic golf clap. Clap, clap, clap. Then I smiled and said, "My blind grandma could have parked faster than that." Her expression changed instantly. She looked at me like I'd just committed some unforgivable crime. And then came the classic response. "But I got here first." I almost laughed. Because no, she hadn't gotten there first. She had bullied her way into the spot. There was a difference. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't block her car. I simply drove away. But as I passed her vehicle, I noticed something. She was parked horribly. The car was crooked in the space, angled like she'd abandoned the steering wheel halfway through the final turn. It wasn't even close to straight. And that's when an idea entered my head. Not an expensive revenge. Not anything destructive, just something tiny, something harmless, but something that would waste exactly the kind of time she just wasted for everyone else. I found another parking space, farther away. I parked, turned off the engine, and sat there for a moment. I thought about the whole situation. She had spent 5 minutes making everyone wait because she absolutely had to have that spot. She had driven the wrong way down a one-way parking lane. She had forced other drivers to stop. And then, after all of that, she'd acted like she deserved applause because she'd got there first. I reached into my car and grabbed a piece of paper and a pen. Then I wrote, "Sorry I bumped your car. You parked badly and I had a hard time getting out. No phone number, no insurance information, nothing else. Just that." I folded the paper and walked back toward her car. My heart was beating a little faster now. Not because I was scared, because I knew exactly what was going to happen. I slipped the note underneath her windshield wiper. Then I walked away. That's it. No damage, no confrontation, no touching her vehicle beyond putting the paper under the wiper.
I went into the mall, and as I walked through the entrance, I couldn't help imagining the moment she would return. She'd probably unlock her car, open the door, see the note, read it, and immediately start looking for the damage.
She'd walk around the front. Nothing. Check the driver's side. Nothing. Passenger side. Nothing. Back bumper. Nothing. Maybe she'd crouch down, look at the wheels, run her fingers over the paint, search for a tiny scratch that simply wasn't there, and then she'd probably read the note again. Sorry, I bumped your car. That was the entire revenge. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I wasn't trying to make her pay money. I wasn't trying to damage anything. I just wanted to give her the same thing she'd given me, a completely unnecessary waste of time. She had made me sit there for nearly 5 minutes because she wanted something badly enough to ignore everyone around her. So I gave her a problem that didn't exist. And somehow, that felt perfect. The funniest part was that the note wasn't even technically accusing her of anything. It didn't say where I had supposedly hit her. It didn't say how badly. It didn't say there was major damage. It simply created a question. Where did this person hit my car? And because she knew she'd parked badly, she would probably assume there must be something she hadn't noticed. That's what made it work, the uncertainty. If I'd written, "I smashed your bumper," she could have immediately looked and known it was a lie. But this was just believable enough to make her search, and I knew exactly how much time she'd spend doing it. Probably more than 5 minutes. I walked through the mall with a ridiculous little smile on my face. And for the first time that morning, I wasn't thinking about how annoyed I'd been. I was thinking about the absurdity of the whole thing. A parking space had turned into a contest. A woman had inconvenienced multiple people just to get a few spaces closer to the entrance. And then she defended herself with the words, "But I got here first," as if parking lot etiquette suddenly disappeared because she wanted something. That's the thing about people like that. They don't necessarily believe they're being rude. They believe everyone else is supposed to accommodate them. They think their urgency matters more. Their convenience matters more. Their time matters more. And when someone challenges them, they don't see it as accountability. They see it as an attack. That's probably why her reaction had irritated me so much. It wasn't just the parking. It was the attitude, the complete lack of consideration, the assumption that she could bully her way through a situation and then declare herself the winner. And that's why my little note felt so satisfying. For once, she would have to stop. She would have to look. She would have to wonder. She would have to spend time solving a problem that didn't exist. Exactly the kind of pointless inconvenience she'd created for everyone else. I never saw her reaction directly. And honestly, I didn't need to. The best part was knowing what probably happened. She returned to her car. She saw the note. Her stomach probably dropped. She probably thought, wait, where did I hit someone? Then came the inspection. Front bumper, rear bumper, doors, fenders, maybe even the mirrors. She'd be searching for a scratch or dent that wasn't there.
And eventually, she'd have to face the uncomfortable truth. There was no damage, because there had never been an accident. There was only a piece of paper designed to make her think there had been one. And somewhere in that realization, she probably understood that someone had deliberately wasted her time. Maybe she figured out it was me. Maybe she didn't. Either way, the result was the same. She'd gotten her precious parking spot, but she didn't get to leave that spot without consequences. And that was enough for me. The beauty of the revenge was that nothing was damaged. No car was scratched, no money was lost, nobody got hurt. She simply had to experience a few minutes of uncertainty and frustration, the exact thing she'd imposed on everyone else. She wanted the closest parking spot badly enough to make several people wait nearly 5 minutes, so I gave her a completely imaginary problem to investigate. She wasted my time, I wasted hers. Fair trade. And unlike her parking job, my revenge was perfectly straight. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be dramatic. You don't need to destroy someone's property or start a huge confrontation. Sometimes the most satisfying response is simply making someone experience the same kind of inconvenience they casually inflicted on everyone else. She wanted to make the parking lot revolve around her. For a few minutes, I made her world revolve around a scratch that didn't exist. And honestly, I think that's called balance.
If this story made you smile, hit like and subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories. And tell me in the comments, would you have left the note or would you have just driven away and forgotten about her? Because sometimes the smallest acts of karma are the ones that feel the best.